Well, welcome everyone to this installment of Why We Plan. My name's John Brown. I'm the founder of BEI, an exit planning organization that supports advisors throughout North America and helps them help their clients plan for a better future through exit planning. And with me today is Corwin Davidson from Round Rock, Texas, which sounds like a really small town, but it's not. Welcome, Corwin.
Thank you, John.
So today we're going to talk about Corwin's practice, how he's developed his exit planning practice. So Corwin, tell us a little bit about your background, maybe what interested you in exit planning, and then how that's affected your I think, financial advisory practice today.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I am a graduate from the finance program of Texas State University. And whenever I got out, I hit a fork in the road. It was advising or analysis. And so I chose advising. And what I found out at 23 years old was that retirement planning was going to be real tough for me at that age. And so I mentored under a business planning advisor, and I found out about the BEI program just through being engaged in the business community and business planning community. And so once I went through the BEI designation program, what I realized was that we are already working with business owners, but we could really change our core services to exit planning and estate planning, and really helping business owners monetize their businesses in the long term. And then secondary to that, or post that, making sure that they hold on to as many of those dollars as possible.
So that's interesting. How did the knowledge and tools of exit planning change your practice from before exit planning to what you're doing today? And then how large is this exit planning component to your overall practice?
Yeah, thank you. And so the designation program was essential to my ability to really kind of wrap my head around business planning, exit planning. It was, if I could say, it was a foundation to what we've created as an exit planning firm. That is absolutely what it was. And it was really awesome getting to see, initially whenever I went in for the boot camp, it was really great to see all the different professions that were interested in learning about and creating that foundation for exit planning and helping business owners monetize their businesses in the long term. But that program, especially as I continued, my motto is be a student. And so continuing to learn and understand the concepts, case studies, it's really helped us create a true exit planning and estate planning organization as our core service.
You've rapidly developed that organization. You have several people under your, under your umbrella today, do you not?
I do. We're in Texas, in 3 different cities in Texas, and then we're actually out in California, in Los Angeles.
Excellent. When you're meeting with business owners, how do you present this whole exit planning process to them?
So when I'm meeting with business owners, what we've realized is that when I went out and just tried to sell exit planning as a concept or provide exit planning as a service, there was stickiness, but what I wasn't getting, and ultimately what we figured out, was that businesses go through 3 stages of development: the startup survival phase, the growth phase, the mature phase. And what we realized was that when we're talking to businesses going through our service outlay, we found out that what business owners were dealing with as they were in those stages of development, the services were siloed. And so helping people protect the business, or helping business owners protect the business, even if they're in the growth stage, it really helped us wrap our mind around being able to make sure that if the business grew so fast that they maybe skip some things, we had the ability to go all the way back to the beginning and make sure that they did comprehensive protection and growth and preparation for having a transferable value business.
So so before you started exit planning, you probably had some business owner clients. How have you been able to grow the number of business owner clients now that you're exit planning? Has that helped you actually find new business owner clients, or are you primarily just working with your existing owner clients?
No, we're actually, so to answer your question, yes, we had a couple of business owner clients that we were working with before I went into the BEI certification program. And then since then, we are exclusively marketing to and meeting with businesses who can benefit from the type of service that we're providing. And so absolutely, we reach out to, what do I say, between me and the rest of the sales team, we reach out to around 7,000 business owners on an annual basis. We meet with around 1,000 of them. And like I said earlier, our goal through time, or our long-term goal as we build this team, is to help 30,000 business owners with their exit and estate planning.
That is relatively ambitious. Excuse me.
Set your goals high.
That is just a little ambitious. What tools are you using to get there?
The tools I'm using to get there are a combination of our financial planning software, the Living Balance Sheet, which gives us the ability to coordinate personal and business assets on the same platform. We're engaged constantly through the BEI marketing program, making sure that we've got the newsletter that goes out twice a month, that we've got the presentations that we do on a regular basis, and just really using it as an education platform to be able to reach out to people who, ultimately everybody's going to have to deal with this in some regard in the future. And so we want to make sure that we can provide that service to as many people as possible through the marketing and resource things that we have with the company.
Well, that's amazing. No, I think it's an ambitious goal, but it's a good goal to have. I would call it a stretch goal.
That is correct.
But nevertheless, you're doing it. If you're contacting 1,000 business owners a year, you're probably contacting about 980 more than most other advisors. So keep it up. That's just wonderful. Any advice you have for advisors of any profession regarding maybe the benefits to their practice of engaging in an exit planning base?
Absolutely. And so much like I said earlier, it's the foundation, it's everything you need to be able to build from. And so there's so much information out there that you can just go find. But having the BEI foundation of not only the 7-step exit planning process, but moving through and creating, if you want to engage in the business community, you've got to have some wherewithal about, what they're dealing with, how the process potentially works, and, and what they're going to be interested in at, any given stage of where they're at. And so the foundation of having the BEI certified exit planning designation and then continuing to be a student on top of that, it's not something that I transitioned, on the turn of a dime per se. We phased it out, or phased it in, I guess, to an exclusive service that we're providing over about a 12-month period after, graduating and getting certified in the program. But it's a huge base layer to be able to create the education and provide really the ability to talk to these folks from a planning perspective.
How often when you're talking, it's great. How often when you're talking to a business owner, are they telling you, oh, I know all about exit planning, or I've talked to other advisors about exit planning, compared to this being the initial conversation they've ever had with an advisor about exit planning?
Great question, John. And so in my career, I have met with 2 business owners that have had everything in place that we were talking about and were willing to show it to me. But beyond that, 98% of the people who I speak with on a regular basis about exit planning have never had anybody call them. They've never had any sort of like conceptual education around the subject. And even and sometimes we'll talk to people and they've thought about it and they've got ideas, and I've applauded, actually even this week I've applauded a couple of business owners for speaking the exit planning language without having any real advice ever given to them. But for the most part, nobody's having this conversation with business owners around planning for the future of the business with the exit in mind, monetizing the business in the long term, and finding ways to hold on to as many of those dollars as possible through time.
Wow, that's great. This is exactly why we plan. Corwin, that was wonderful. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, John.